Well, welcome everybody. Yeah, thank you again for having me here. I mean, it's been 3 years, and you know, we all went through a tough time. I don't want to remind everybody about this, but we all learned also, and you know, to me, it makes it more special to be here because I come here every year, and I really enjoy it, especially the weather and the people and the food and atmosphere. I'm from Poland originally, so I have kind of a lot of ties here with people who hail from Poland, as you might be aware. But mainly, you know, it's about music and it's about helping you to get to Berklee if you're interested. And today I have a kind of double duty because I work in admissions office, as you know, but I'm a guitar player also. So you'll be talking to me about money, about scholarships, and about other things. I'm gonna also audition on Thursday. But today is a nice chance for you to kind of get some help before you audition, because I'll be talking about one of the elements of the audition, which is improvisation. You know, just to kind of tell you why is it, to me, special. Well, when I studied at Berklee, you know, I had a chance to interact with good teachers, and one of them was Hal Crook. I don't know if you remember him. He's a trombone player, and he came up with good methods for improvisation, which I was very impressed with. We had a chance to be in his class when he just wrote new books, and we were sort of guinea pigs for his methods. And you know, improvisation is a part of the audition process. When you audition for Berklee, it's one of the elements that you are asked to do. You guys have improvisational classes here, right? Okay, do you use any particular book or method, or how do you approach this? Well, okay, you know, maybe you're familiar with what I'm gonna be talking about today, maybe not, but I think it coincides with the audition because you're gonna have a chance to maybe see what do we suggest that you work on in order to do well at the audition. Another thing, to me, improvisation is a modern language of music, and I was always fascinated with ways to shape this and how you can learn it and how can you create a musical solo that has direction, musical quality, and how do you kind of shape that. So that's what we're talking about. I mean, first things are very simple, and we'll use the band, I'll ask them to help me out here, to demonstrate certain things, so we have a chance to see if this all works, because I'll be demonstrating this live, asking the players to do this, and we'll see whether you think this is something that helps. So, you know, the first thing, when I worked on improvisation back in Poland, you know, there wasn't much thought to this and much kind of method, but during the 90s at Berklee, there was a lot of methods being kind of shaped, and people started writing books about it, and these days there's plenty of materials. But I always appreciated the fact that I had a teacher that wrote the book and stood in front of me and demonstrated this stuff. It's much different, you know, and so that thing was very much supported by his musicality, by his ideas, and it's not only the method, because, you know, there's a lot of ideas about teaching music, but I think the quality, musicality, and the kind of way of demonstrating this makes all the difference. So I'll try to focus on this and try to use these musicians here, ask them for help with this. So, you know, first thing that we practiced when we did some exercises were basically practicing silence, which is kind of a paradox. But, you know, you can think about silence as something that really is very necessary in music. And it's not necessary to the point that you balance playing and silence in the same way, but silence functions in this very similar way, such as frame for the picture. You know, if you have a musical idea and it's not really framed in silence, it's more difficult to recognize the quality and possibly pick it up and build up on it, especially when you improvise and, you know, you have to produce ideas constantly. Now, it's not to say that, you know, some of the best players you listen to use a lot of silence in their solos, because if you listen to Coltrane or even Kurt Rosenwinkel, you know, they are very busy, they play a lot of notes. But to my understanding, it takes quite a lot of time to develop your ideas to the point that those ideas are such high quality that you don't have to use that much silence. Basically, they sound so good, if they play all the time, you're gonna be happy. But, you know, most of us are not at this level, so I would start with silence and try to shape my ideas and try to basically play things that I can then recall in my mind and build up or not, but learning how to listen to my own playing. So what we'll do is, you know, we'll use a simple kind of chord progression, basically kind of like maybe let's use just kind of like D minor 7 to G7 and to C. All right. So for the guys that play rhythm and accompany, and what we'll try to do is we'll try to take a little bit of time and play something, and basically use more space other than music. So the idea is you play a musical idea and you rest, and then you rest a little bit more, and then when you come to an impulse to play, you hold that impulse and then you play. It's kind of funny, you know, because we all have this urge to play, you know, and it's natural when you learn. But I think if you learn to hold it, you kind of gather energy, so to speak, and when you come in with a conviction and with you know, ready idea, that sounds better. And I'm talking about rhythmic kind of definition and more conviction and musical quality. So I'll demonstrate this a little bit, and you know, then each one of you will play a little bit, we'll listen to this. But what you try to do is basically put a lot of silence between your ideas and just play short ideas, kind of, you know, short musical motifs. You might continue this or not. We don't really have any sort of plan of what to do with this music, but the only thing is play it back in your head, see if you like it, and then wait a little bit. So when you play it back, actually that takes as much time as playing, so it's already you rest, and then you come in with conviction when you're ready for it, okay? So let's just play the vamp, all right? So D minor 7 to G to C, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And A7. Symmetrical. So when I have the urge to play, I'll still wait, and then. Long one. And you mix short and longer. Try it. vary the length of the phrase also. If you play a longer one, then the next one should be shorter and maybe more syncopated. You know? Yeah. Right. Play it back in your head, see if you like it, and then play something more defined, maybe. No. Yeah. If you wait longer, the quality probably is better. Yeah. And try to surprise the audience. Okay? Like, they wait. They wait. Not yet. Surprise the audience. No. Yeah, even go for something simple like that. The drums now. So the same thing. You can lay off, don't play, and then you just continue. We practice the same topics for every instrument. So you keep playing and you accompany him, and you're now a melodic instrument. You don't have to call time. You don't even have to use the hi-hat. Hi-hat. 1, 2, 3, go. So we can hear where the rhythm is. Play it back in your head. Ka, 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 ka. Now you're ready. Clean it up. Yeah, and make it varied length. So now play shorter phrase, like much shorter than this. Space. Okay, cool. So yeah, I know you notice, like, if you use more lengthy phrases, sometimes the quality is not as great because you leave not enough space and maybe not enough time for you to play back the phrase in your head. And I think, you know, it's a good practice. If you play something, recall it in your head, because then you will know, is this definite enough for you to even remember that, you know? And basically it's about the rhythm and, you know, kind of length of the phrase. So it's more of a like kind of psychological exercise also, because you know, to me, I mean, the brain produces an idea, it comes from your mind and then goes through your fingers and goes out. But you know, what people perceive outside, I always wonder, like when you listen to music, what do they think? Like, do they like my playing, or what is this? And I think, you know, things that are defined rhythmically especially are easier to be communicated. So we're working on kind of rhythm definition more or less, because melodically there's nothing else than needs to be kind of, you know, thought about. It's very simple harmony here. All right. So, you know, the next step, if you do this, then you can maybe plan and kind of write a chart and underline the chords with little line, and then you'll see where you have to play or not. I have a little chart that comes from Paul's book here. Yeah, so basically what it is, you know, there's a line underneath it and you play and the rest in certain spaces. I mean, it's just an idea. It's basically what we've done here, but there's no kind of method to this. Some of these phrases are longer, some of them are shorter. You just try to basically read it as an example of what we've done. For the rhythm section, the exercise can be, you know, if you look at this, P is for play, R is for rest. In these places that we rest, you can be more active and maybe, you know, fill these with musical idea that corresponds with what I play, okay? All right, so let's go through this, and each one of us can play one chorus. I'll look through this, and when we finish down there, maybe the bass player can start, okay? All good so far?
Could you please zoom in?
Yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah. So yeah, let's start with you first, maybe. Can you see it? All right. So, yeah, let me start. I'll play the first round, and then when we get to the end, you pick up from the top. Right? Yeah, I mean, we'll just play one section. You play one, and then we maybe get two more people. And you know, for the drums, look where we don't play. See if you can come in. You can do it by ear. You can do it by looking. But that's basically the idea. You know, if we open up the space, it's an invitation for you to be busier. Okay. Let's do it maybe a little faster than not too fast, but 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. might seem kind of a little mechanical because we have written chart, but you know, you can make this musical when you focus on your lines and when you listen back to them. It's basically just an example for you to see how do you plan that space. And there's no method to it other than, you know, the quality in your playing and you listening to your own phrases. But there's more musical exercise to practice that, and let me show you what you would do next with this. So, you know, those excerpts, by the way, they're from the Hall's book. It's called How to Improvise. If anybody's interested, I have the book. I don't think Hall minds that you listen to it, so shoot me an email, I'll send you the copy. You know, if you do this, then later, next thing is you kind of define the number of bars that you play, and you still use the space, but now you use it in a way that you pre-plan the phrases that you play and the space. I think the best way to practice this is the blues, because blues is a short form. It's important that you pick the setting for these exercises that is easy enough so you don't have to worry about executing harmony at the beginning. You know, if you're not that good yet with definition and in space, you should play something that you could use your ear to control. But the blues is a good example, and we try to use that on the blues. So, you know, when I had some first lessons at Berkeley, we spoke about the blues. I don't know, guys, do you play some blues lately? Because, you know, Dave will come back later tomorrow and he'll talk a lot about the blues. He's a great accomplished, you know, blues player. So we both kind of think that, you know, it's important that you learn that art, and it's at the bottom of all these things that we do in jazz and other styles of music. So in the blues, you obviously have 3 phrases, but you know, the ideas are coming from call and response tradition, where there would be one phrase where somebody would make a call, second phrase, usually the call is repeated, and the third phrase is kind of conclusion to this. I mean, I'll try to use that similar ideas when I use these exercises to make it more musical, because these exercises, they're important that they feel like you playing something that's valuable musically. You know, it shouldn't be very mechanical. For now, it might seem like it is, but let's see if you can make it more musical. So we play the blues, and we maybe play each one of us, let's say the first combination. So let's think each one of us will play 2 choruses where we play 1 measure and rest of 1 measure. And when I talk about 1 measure, it doesn't mean that you have to start at beat 1 and finish at beat 4. You have 4 beats to play an idea. You should basically start inside of that bar and finish before the bar ends. So try not to overlap. You try to play the piece of music that's basically shorter even than the bar. Doesn't have to be continuous 8 measures. Should be a musical idea that you can play back in your head, and then you use that idea kind of to measure the space. Instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, I would play an idea, da-ga-do, ga-da, I think, da-ga-da, ga-da. And that's my 1 measure, you know. And then that's how I do this. So musical context is very important here. So let's do the blues in B flat. Right, we don't have to play ahead. We'll just get in it, and we'll play 1 measure, 1 chorus, 2 choruses each of us, playing 1, 1. So 1 bar, 1 bar rest. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. To make it sound musical. I mean, and the blues is a good vehicle for it because of the call and response. So what I suggest you do, you come up with a strong idea and it's simple enough that you can repeat it. You know, that way you practice recall both in your hand and your head and, you know, musically speaking. And then, like in the blues, the third phrase is for you to conclude the idea. So play something contrasting. I mean, it's not necessary that you do it at the beginning, but you try to evolve these exercises so they're more musically attractive. And you know, also what we can do is we can reverse the order, pause for 2 measures and then play. But for now, try to play an idea that's not very busy. And see, one thing I have to explain to you is that we do this very quickly here. It usually takes quite a bit of time to even learn to create good motifs so that you're strong enough and these motifs are defined. Because we don't practice the actual, you know, exercises that much. I'm just asking them to do it like this. I mean, as simple as it seems, it takes time to be definitive rhythmically. So my suggestion is, when you come up with the motif, use quarter notes, or don't play it's too busy. So it's simple, like, you know, da, ka, king, ka, and it's easy to remember. And then I can do something contrasting. You know, the third time around. But the first motive should be very definitive, doesn't even have to come on one, but should be simple enough so you can build up on it and repeat it. All right, try it again. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. Wait. Measures. Now you play. 4-on-2. This is a little bit more difficult. I mean, difficult, you know, different. I mean, those combinations, the first table is odd. I mean, rather even phrases, and the second is odd. You know, when I practice this, blues seems to be the best vehicle at the beginning to do this because of the very kind of regular form. And also, you know, you don't have to think about harmony much. I mean, obviously you can try this on other songs later, but I think it's best if we focus on these simple forms to show how this should be done. You know, we're getting there. I think, you know, the idea is there, the definition is the number one thing, and you're learning, listen to yourself, you know. Like some of you when you play, you have definitive ideas that are easy to remember, but if you notice that your idea is not as strong, that means that you need to spend more time on creating these ideas and be more definitive. The best way to do this at the beginning is simplify it. Just play simpler rhythms. There's nothing wrong with playing quarter notes, you know, in this setting, and you don't have to play phrases that are very busy. Something that has got good kind of, you know, backbone, so to speak. All right, let's try 4-on-2, okay?
4 play, 2
4 play, 2 rest, yeah. Okay, same thing, the blues. I'll start the first chorus. 1, 2, 1, 2, 4 measures that have 1 bar long each, and they have definition. So it should be. We're making progress. Look, I mean, you played much better now. See, it's just half an hour, but I mean, just I think thinking about this, and it's, you know, you don't have time to practice much, but you sound much more defined now. It's more of an approach because you all can play. You know, it's not like you have to learn to play. It's maybe the things that you can start thinking about when you practice improvisation, because in order to improve, you have to focus on certain things. So all we do right now, we're focusing on space. You know, there's plenty of other things to focus on. I mean, there's so many different topics. I just picked those that are kind of easy to communicate, and I think they're fun, you know, and they produce results quickly. Because if you leave some space, automatically there's a place for other musicians to come in and play ideas, and we start creating a conversation, which is the most important thing in kind of jazz playing. So, you know, the next thing is kind of odd phrases, which is a bit more tricky. You know, again, I think, you know, the idea and the book is one thing, but how do you play this? How do you think when you play? That's why I try to give you some feedback, hopefully it works, during your playing, because, you know, we're playing music, it shouldn't be mechanical, so the phrasing and the ideas, to me, is the way to measure this space. I think it's better, other than counting beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, you count your space with your idea. I mean, you realize how long does the one measure idea count, and then you can do any combination, and it shouldn't be that easy, as long as you have, you know, control over the one measure idea. So let's try the odd thing. Yeah, we can try with the first one. It's the easiest. Maybe we'll slow down the tempo a bit. But basically, you play one measure idea. I play it in my head twice, and I play a new idea. That's it. You know, so one measure, we already know what it is. Okay. So let's try slow down the tempo a bit. Maybe change the key to F. Okay. 1, 2, F. 2, 3. It's simple, I can use it. 2 on 1, okay? Yeah, let's try this in D flat with a faster tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That definition comes in, and especially the fast tempo, you know. So this is, you know, just to show you what you do next. I mean, let's progress. Let's go to creating motifs. So you know, first of all, just to recall, we practiced the space. Then we had combinations of measures. Now we try to have more kind of defined exercise in order to learn how to continuously create motifs. So let's talk about the next thing. You know, there's also, he's got also, you know, suggestions here to practice this because, you know, we are showing this kind of in a very short period of time. It's impossible to do it perfectly. My goal is more to kind of tell you what you should practice in order to do well at the audition also, where we check your improvisation. And these ideas, first of all, they don't have to be defined only to jazz players, although, you know, you don't see pop players singing 3 measures and the rest do, but it's about controlling space, you know, in a musical way, in a way that is kind of giving you more sense of controlling your direction rather than the solo. So you start with this, you play the blues, you can do this on the rhythm changes, which is kind of more tricky. You know, rhythm changes have the bridge where you have a little bit more chords. Your mind has to control the harmony. Once you do that well, yeah, pick a standard and do this on different standards. If you do it on things like, you know, All the Things You Are, or a tritonic system and the bridge, now your mind has to control the harmony also. If you do well, I mean, yeah, try giant steps or 26-2 and see if you can create some ideas there. I mean, in a fast tempo, it's going to be fun, you know. But I mean, don't fast forward too quickly. Learn like how to control your phrases and be definitive. And you know, I record myself quite a bit when I do this, and I tell you, I don't like what I hear most of the time. But it takes an extra effort to record yourself precisely, so you can think about the idea. It's so well played, I can write it down, and it looks good. You know, that's what your goal is. I mean, right now, you know, we have kind of progress. We're making progress here, but you know, not everybody is on the same level. So just to realize that it takes time to develop this. You know, I don't want to make it look like, you know, we come here for 2 hours and you walk out of here and you score full scholarship tomorrow because you're such a good improviser. I mean, you know, I tell you, I've been practicing this for 30 years. I still don't consider myself an expert. I mean, so it's a lifelong adventure, but it's fun. Okay, so he's suggesting some of the things in his book, which is great because he's very methodical, you know. So things like, you know, use the player's combination only for the entire solo. You can, maybe use it just on the bridge, because it is a way of playing where your mind is very disciplined, and it's not natural for musicians. Make sure also that you play a little bit of music after that, so you kind of get rid of this constriction and you're free, because then you think 2 on 1 and you kind of go crazy. So be musical when you practice, and use some time to balance, to offload all this restriction. Yeah, these ideas are good. Hal was a great teacher, a big influence on me, and I liked his methodical approach. But my suggestion is, if you're a musician, you have to allow some musical space, some free playing, and some thinking that you have to really control what you're doing. Because the idea behind these exercises is you practice this, but on stage you don't think like that. It should come naturally in your solo, and it will after a while. It's going to be subconscious after a while. You practice this just to get rid of that, and it's going to come back. You don't even know, but it will. So that's the desired effect. Okay, let's go to motive solving. Everybody's okay so far? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Hope it's not too boring. Okay. Yeah, so the next thing we'll talk about is how to create a motive, actually, because we've been trying to create some motives, and a motive in music is like a short statement, which you can develop, you can leave, you can extend, you can fragment, and you can do different things. Those are the compositional techniques that kind of I like to use in order to kind of continue in the solo and create, continuation and direction. I think, music has a direction, in my opinion, and it has to go somewhere. The best thing is if it goes somewhere, you don't know where it's going, but it should take you on a journey. To me, that kind of music is interesting. So when you improvise, the best improviser have that ability. They take you on the ride and you kind of go along, but there's a lot of, musicality and structure there. So he's getting an ideas here, like about showing you short motives, So basically, the space that we talk about, it's important, like things should be concise and kind of short at the beginning, because we have tendency to focus on playing. So, like some of the things that I was trying to correct during your playing was basically to shorten your phrases. I don't know if you noticed, but all of us have tendency to play a bit longer, because a lot of times we don't like what we played, so we play longer, we think we're gonna fix it, because you have still more notes. But usually if you don't start strong, it doesn't work like this. So my suggestion from the beginning that worked for me also is don't be afraid to play 1 or 2 notes, but very precisely rhythmically, and so that you can build upon it, And those short motives they show you, it's just 4 notes, sometimes 2 notes, sometimes 1 note. That's a motive, you don't need anything more than that. So yeah, short idea, developable, has some sort of information, possibly an angle to it or the curve, which in music is important. If I play an idea, I don't use my pick, and I use fingers, so I like to play kind of wider intervals, like something that kind of like this. That's my preference. But something that is linear and then comes back. That all is a characteristic of the motive. But the rhythm is the more kind of natural thing at the beginning that you can use, and the curve you should pay attention to. So yeah, this is what he has here. Some short ideas. And we're gonna develop these motives. So at first, we learn how to build a short unit. Because if you want to build a longer one, well, first you start with a short, and then you see if you can develop it, see how good you are with creating something definitive and rhythmically correct that you can extend with it. But the short one is the first thing. So here's the exercise. When you try to develop motifs, you use the rhythm first, and we don't have to think about harmony or continuation or anything. We limit this. Just use the rhythm. We set the tempo, and you use 1 note, and you create motifs, and you do similar thing as the beginning, putting a lot of space in between the motifs, so you can listen to what you played. Okay? So this is the exercise here. It's written, but what we'll do is I'll demonstrate this, and each one of us will just play a bit. So, again, what I focus on, something that's got definition rhythmically, that's it. And it's short enough. Doesn't extend maybe beyond 1 measure. 1 measure, and maybe you finish at the end. That is good idea. Hal, when he writes these exercises, he's a very good musician. They all have musical sense. You might notice, I will show it to you later, when he finishes the short motif, usually he uses syncopation at the end. So usually plays the last note in the measure, because this propels the music forward. This kind of gives it forward movement. If you finish the phrase like this, it kind of dies down. But if you go, it kind of gets the energy that pushes you over the bar line, and that makes music more exciting, especially jazz in this context, you know. But it applies to all kinds of music. So we'll try these motifs and kind of start them in a good way and finish in a good way. So something that has definition like these frames that I spoke about earlier, okay? All right, let's just set the tempo, and then we play short motifs using one notes, okay? Here's the thing. So you just play kind of like a, yeah, just time. 1, 2, no bass. Yeah. And I'm thinking about motif. Versus short, syncopated versus non-syncopated. And that propel thing at the end, that works. If I put notes in it, using triplets, yeah, like. Okay, now something more syncopated. Okay, that's good, yeah, that's syncopated. Yeah. No, look, sorry, like when you did this, it's a good idea, but don't be too critical on yourself, because it was good motif. You came on the second note, and it doesn't have to have many notes. It came on like on a second 8th note, and bam! It's motif, it's good. The previous ones weren't as strong, because when you try to play triplets, and they are not totally even, triplets have their way kind of like softening out the music a bit. I mean, you can use it too, but at the beginning try to be definitive. But you know, it's good, it's good. Okay, let's try a little bit faster tempo. 1, 2, keep going. 2, 3, 4. it's very simple. You know, you understand it immediately. It's not difficult. But when you did this rhythm, kada, kada, ka, and then you repeat it, kada, kada, da, 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 to me, you continue with this idea, which is not the purpose of that exercise, because that exercise is about creating 100 motifs, and each one is different. Because you're trying to be creative, so you analyze the qualities of that motif you just played, and you get rid of it. So if you did syncopated motif, and kada, kada, ka, the second one should be non-syncopated, like da, da, or da, 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 you know? And then you get back to syncopation. So you just have one note and the rhythm. You try to be as creative as you can in order to, you know, learn how to do this. Because later on we'll use a song and harmony, and you're gonna be producing these motifs, but each one should be different. Okay, cool. So you understand it. It's not difficult. Let's keep going. Yeah, I mean, you know, I like to, you know, play some of this stuff that Howell composed, because he's a great musician. To me, that again, the ideas and everything is cool, but the way he sounds and the way he plays it, it's cool. Let's just listen to that exercises he with motifs. I mean, he doesn't use that much space here, but you know, his ways of creating lines is interesting. I mean, he uses a lot of intervals, kind of harmony that's not as maybe, I mean, not in this case, but lines that are non-typical, so to speak. He's got recognizable style, and that's good. I mean, this is what you try to do, you know? We don't want to sound like a bebop player that played 70 years ago. We practiced improvisation according to the tradition, but you know, try to be creative as well in this. So when you listen to this stuff, I mean, I like to play this, he's different, so let's listen to the exercise.
Section 2, example 39. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
This is cool. That's what you try to do. It doesn't have to be everything very traditional, and as creative as it can be. So let's go on, and we'll try to replicate this exercise. Now we try to learn motifs, but we'll use a harmonic context, 1/6 or you know, very simple harmonic structure, and you continuously create motifs that are different. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So let's do. Kind of like a phrase that would be E minor, G7, then E minor, A7, and we'll loop that, okay? And what we do, we create a series of motifs. Everyone is different, just like we did with single note. You try to replicate this and play the next motif that is different. So you try to kind of analyze it a bit, throw out the qualities that this motif had, and create a new one. Using rhythm and using, you know, curve maybe. And you think about things such as, okay, you can use intervals, you can use the register, you can use linear approach versus intervals, you can use long notes versus short notes, you can use whole bar versus one note. I mean, it's a lot of different things. And you leave yourself enough time to think about this criteria from motif to motif. Okay? 1, 2, so D7, D minor 7. Different registers. So let's try with the one note, and multi-motive is, two or more, meaning that you have some more material that you can develop. So that motive should be kind of like 2 measures long or more, and have some things that later on we can take out and just use on its own. So longer phrase, in other words. Not one words, but 2, 3. One note and the same thing. So try it with the bass. I'll play first. The idea is actually, you know what? Let's do a little exercise so you don't get bored. Do you guys use tata thing? Like when you, yeah? All right, so we're gonna read the rhythm, okay? Together. All right. So once, can you see it? Exercise now. Okay, so everybody, exercise 44. We have volume?
You are on 43.
Sorry, 43. So 43. Ready?
Section 2, example 43. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
See the combination of long and short notes. You know, when he uses busier rhythm, then the second motif automatically has longer notes. And you know, when I mentioned about the last note, look, there's a lot of syncopation. Usually, last note in the motif is placed on the last beat. That propels you forward. Da 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 pa, and that pa pushes you forward, and you know, gives the music more kind of kick. That's a good idea. So think about it when you do it. But the contrast, you know, longer notes versus shorter notes. That's it. We have time, right? We have. You guys okay? All right, cool. We'll speed it up a bit. Yeah.
They're already telling me like another, 10, 15.
10, 15. Okay. So let's do this. Instead of playing one note, let's move forward and we play multi-motifs using the same same structure, the E minor to C, E minor to A, and then we'll replicate this with longer motifs, but using notes and using harmony. Okay. So the same map, D minor to C, E minor to A. Notice that I don't use too much of the more difficult things just to make these exercises more obvious, because when we start playing, standards, the kind of the at this point it wouldn't be that clear, I mean, obviously when you practice, you try to use standards and maybe use rhythm changes and things like that. But for now, I think it's best to use kind of simple chord. Although, just for fun, since we have only 10 minutes, let's try it different. Let's do rhythm changes, multi-motif exercises on rhythm changes. All right? Okay, rhythming? Okay, let's do rhythming in B flat. And then we play long multi-motif phrases. Each one is different, using rhythm changes as a canvas. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. continue. Yeah. Something different. Play different. That's similar. Not a lot of play notes. Play longer notes. Piano. But you continue, for now it's playing something different, because you have a very natural way of continuing this, then you do it like this, but we'll do it later. Yeah, that's continuation. And the contrast. Yeah. Leave more space. Yeah, that's like a cry in the jungle. Now do different. Yeah, when you wait, the idea will come. Wait. We have time. That's good. And now syncopate, because that was long notes. Yeah. have a little bit of time. Yeah. You know, once you learn to create these motifs and multi-motifs, now you try to learn continuation. But you know, being not continuous seems like it's difficult, you know, because we have that in our blood. Like you have already skills and you continue, you know, and that's not.
Show the exercises.
Okay. No. Look, it's good. I mean, it's all good because each one of you sounds a bit different. Gives me more chance to kind of point different things to you. Because you know, when we play, we all make mistakes. I mean, not that you make mistakes, but everybody sounds different, and that's not to say everybody has to sound similar. But there's certain things. It helps me to give you more examples. So that was about creative. But now you're gonna try to continue. So let's use the first technique. It will be called variation. You know, variation is this. You know, there's a lot of different terms for this, and it's not to say that this is the only one that's complete, but it should be logical. Short motif, where you take the structure of the first motif and you create something similar. So I would usually take the same rhythm and consider the melodic curve and continue playing a variation of that first motif. So, for instance, if I play or that's my rhythm, and the curve was going down. Well, if I continue this couple of times, I can change it, maybe go up. There's also another technique that's called rhythmic displacement, which is very, effective. And rhythming, Monk uses this quite a bit. That means placing the motif on a different note in the measure. So when you play the first motif on one, you try the second motif on two. Okay, I'm giving a time out here.
Yes,
so
yes,
we're gonna
yes,
finish.
I'm getting some,
But look, you know, I'll be around for 4 days. You have some questions, come up to me, and maybe we can still talk about it. But look, I'm hoping it was engaging enough. Thank you guys for helping me with this.
Thank you, yeah.
See you next month.
Thank you, Marek from Berkeley.
Elisha,